anticipation. Good morning, happy Thursday. Welcome to Get Your Paint On here at privateerpress.com. Hang it out at the, not privateerpress.com, Privateer Press Facebook page, not .com.
That's .com.
It's .com. Hang out at the Privateer Press secret underground paint studio on the second floor. I'm Dallas, painting with you today. Hello, everybody. And with me is Mr. John Swinkles.
Oh, hello.
He's taken the helm of the master control system panel over there. And one, Mr. Jackson Wood.
Good. Oh, it's morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Jackson. And good morning to all you happy little painters out there in Facebook world. How are you today? What are you painting? What are you dreaming of painting? What do you wish you were painting?
Oh, I'm painting a bunch of mercs soon.
Boys got mercs.
Yeah.
I've got trenchers. John's got elves. You should see a exterminator about that.
Yeah, they are a pest.
Stupid elves.
Infestation, one might say.
Elfestation. And look at that. Ed Burrell, paint and Agatha. Yo, yo, yo. Timothy. What's up? It is Finn. You're right.
Oh, yeah, Riley. Thank you for joining us.
Everybody's joining in. Get in here and get your paint on.
What are you getting paint on today, Dallas?
I've got Mr. Maxwell Finn, or as I like to call him, Dutch Raw Deal Connors. I'm here for your motivation, Andrew.
What colors you starting out with there?
I just mix a little Midland flush and a little Cardic flush because I want him to be a little dark. This guy's probably seen some sun. This guy doesn't hang out at the desk.
Hey, John, can you bring my levels down a little bit?
He hangs out at the war zone shooting dudes. It's
One of the
probably
best forms.
sunny.
Best forms of sunscreen is a bunch of mud on your face.
That's right. That's right. So I'm just going to start glazing this over top of my primer.
Let me know if that brings my volume down. I'm just naturally a loud person.
You ain't got to scream. That's why we got microphones, right?
I'm loud even if I'm not screaming.
We talked about karaoke last time, and
That needs to happen.
It
we
does.
could totally make that happen. I used to go to this country bar and do karaoke, and of course I didn't do country songs at the country bar. And this guy used to always tell me, if you can't sing it, scream it, boy. And I was like, yep, you're right. I don't know exactly what he was getting at, but or exactly what the point of that story was.
Yeah, it's a good story all the same. And Alex would like to let you know that you are his favorite person ever. Or theirs. I'm not looking at pictures.
What? Thank you, Alex.
But we should do karaoke.
We should do karaoke.
I mean, I don't know if we'd be able to videotape it, because we do some pretty...
There's video of some karaoke that exists.
There is.
There does exist video of Dallas doing karaoke.
That's right, James. What happened at Origins was magic. Utter magic. All right, so I got my first skin coat on. And that's got to dry because it's a wash. So let's move around to some other colors. Should we do the coat or the armor first? What do you think?
Well, we might get some responses from the crowd, too. Nathan would like to know, what was Dutch in prison for? Or is it classified top secret crime stuff?
Redacted.
Is that some Gravedigger denim?
Gravedigger denim.
Gravedigger denim is awesome.
Rock band at War Machine Weekend. Ooh.
Oof. I
That
won't
would
be
be
at War
fun.
Machine Weekend, so y'all do what you want there.
You won't be or you will be?
I will not.
I'm thinking about going on my own dime.
Just on your own dime?
Yeah.
War Machine Weekend's a great time.
Yeah, it's a really great time. I've been before. I just don't know if I'm going to have the time to go again.
I really enjoy War Machine Weekend.
I definitely want to hit up LVO if I'm sent officially or not. I want to see Tyson.
Tyson's really good people, and he runs a fine show at LVO.
That's a fine show. I haven't been to LVO.
Brendan got to go to LVO.
Yeah.
With me and JR and Jack.
And desert shrimp.
And desert shrimp.
JR did eat desert shrimp.
But I'm bringing up Tyson because he does a lot of really interesting stuff hobby-wise too.
Yeah, he painted up a pretty cool Nemo bus they converted for Lock and Load Grandmaster. And it's got he made it a convergence character. It was pretty cool. It had glowy lights and stuff like that in it.
Yeah, his LED work is really, really cool.
He's working on LED Grimkin too.
Yeah.
Grave
Van would like to know if Dutch was convicted of a crime he did not commit.
Redacted.
I think that's the right answer. Tyson's done some cool tutorials that I've been applying for sculpting water and cool stuff like that. So that'll be a fun show. So you're painting some Gravedigger denim on there, Dallas? Is
Yeah,
that what's
just a
going on?
real quick wash on the pants and the coat. The Gravedigger denim supplies two things to my paint scheme. A, it's a nice contrast to the yellowy orange of the armor. And B, it represents that, lack of good supplies that my company is, they don't get the good stuff. So they get the cheap stuff. And denim is definitely cheaper than leather. So a lot of denims and crappy leather work. The leather they do get is very shoddy at best. So to just represent their terrible supplies. Plus, like I said, it supplies a contrast to the orange.
But it really brings out the character in all the models I've seen you paint too.
Yeah, I've got a couple with me. We can show those here in a minute.
Yeah, because Hitch, when you painted up Hitch for another character in your company, he actually has leather on him, correct?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm going to have a little bit of leather on everybody because there's a certain, you don't make a denim belt.
Yeah.
That'd be a terrible.
Or denim shoes.
Or denim shoes. Those would be the worst shoes in the world.
Denim underwear would also be real bad. It's like
You're getting into
burlap.
Scornder Pants territory there.
Oh,
That's definitely getting in the scorner pants.
let's not go there.
So I got Hitch. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. He's hanging out. Let's get him in the light a little bit better. Little Anson Hitch right there. He's all painted. The doggo, all painted up.
What's that doggo's name again?
Sergeant Trevor McNamara, the goodest of boys. And of course, I just finished up last night my trench buster.
Put him on the left.
Put him on the left, like this side. Does that work better?
Yeah.
Bap, 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 bap. I've got your back. Bailey Brunback. Wait. Backbreaker Brunwick. Back Bruiser. That's it. I've got so many names. I'm trying to get them all.
Just write them down.
Back Bruiser. All right. Let's do some Caspian flash wash. Jean shoes should totally be a thing. You're totally wrong. That'd be a terrible shoe, Ed.
Just pitch to Pagani. I'm sure he'll wear them with all of his other terrible footwear choices.
The dude wears terrible footwear.
The worst.
Carl, are you going to bring out a complete paint kit? What do you mean by a complete paint kit? Like a kit of every single paint we make? I need clarification on what you're asking for. Okay, Caspian flush wash right over top of the wash of all paint. That would be one heck of a box, Carl.
That's a lot of paints.
That would be one heck of a box. That would be a big box.
Does that stop being a box and move into case territory
It's like
at
a
that
crate.
point? Or crate, yeah.
Just get a shipping container. For all my paints? For all the paints? That's a... I'm gonna have him wearing gloves. He's definitely gonna be wearing gloves. So a little Cossite flush wash. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna go ahead and go right over the...
Cossite or Caspian?
I'm sorry, I said Cossite. It's Caspian.
Okay. I didn't mess up.
Shoes that look like jeans. Thank you, Agatha. No.
Gene Flops dot... What is that?
An atrocity.
Well, it's actually a picture over there.
Pagani's buying 2 pairs right now.
Gene-trosity. I'm going to put a little bit of this Caspian flush wash over top of all the leather products. So like the backpack is still going to be leather. His belt's going to be leather. I'm being really messy. If it gets on the blue, it doesn't matter. Caspian flush wash is a little yellowy green. So getting that in the blue on accident will not hurt the blue. It'll just provide a little, some little color shifts in there, and it'll actually give visual interest. Like I'm not purposely hitting the blue, but I'm not freaking out if I do, if that makes sense. But this will also give me a foundation for my leathers to build up on. Okay.
As for making a box set of our most popular paints, I don't know if that's necessarily a thing that's in our immediate future, but what are some of the more popular paints as far as you're concerned, Dallas?
Coal black is popular. Definitely some of the newer paints are picking up popularity as people are getting them in their hands, starting to realize what they are like. Coal black is definitely pig iron.
Cold steel.
Cold steel.
Menoth white highlight I use
Dude,
a lot.
Menoth white highlight, yeah. That color is so good for so many different things. I'm just going to go ahead and put this on the armor as well. What the heck, why not? I ain't scared.
Oh, sanguine base is also a really interesting.
Sanguine base is a really good color.
Yeah, thank you, Aggie. That was a good call out there.
A monthly box with good triads. I mean, we have a paint list, so the triads are listed. So if you ever want, I can post that up sometime. But there's definitely a painting list that shows base shade highlight. And if you look at the new paints, if you look at the 6 Wicked assortment colors, you can start seeing that there's some Exile Blue. Agatha is so great. Paint subscription, Ed. This is such a good idea. Just your monthly paint, like handpicked by me. I'm in. What was I saying? Oh yeah, some of the new paints, like you can definitely, if you pick those up and play around with them, you'll definitely see some triads that are being filled out in that paint in the paint line.
Yeah, part of it too is, at least for me, I always pick up paints based on what I'm working on for a project.
I just buy them all.
Yeah, well, that's the overall. But if I'm getting started, like when I first got into painting, I was just like, oh, this is a really cool, like this is what I'm trying to do. I'm gonna get these paints.
When you're first getting into it, you go, okay, so I'm painting, your faction, and that's why we made those 6 faction packs, right? You buy 6 paints that are key to the faction. Then you look at the mercenaries or the Iron Kingdom set. The Iron Kingdom set complements.
The Iron Kingdom's colors set is like literally the first one I would tell anyone to pick up if they don't know what faction they're going or if they're going to go alt colors or anything like that. You're set with all the base colors on.
Yeah, it's such a good. The Iron Kingdom set is such a good set. Yeah. And then you pick up your faction set, and then you fill out with like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, 6 more, and then you're good for a while. You start painting your faction. And then as you expand into another faction, or you add minions or mercs.
Or like me, you've got like all 78.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I got. I got them all. Like, as you expand out and you develop new skills or new techniques, like you start buying new paints and filling out your collection.
Well, I do that weird blending thing, too, where like, oh, I'm going to make this paint mixture. What does this look like? And so I just spend a lot of paint making new combinations.
I want to talk about that.
The thing from Nathan?
Yeah, Nathan.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to bring it up.
Dropper balls. So... I want to say it comes down to personal preference. I prefer paint pots, and there's multiple reasons, and let's talk about those. Let's have a discussion. We're gonna not paint for a second, and all right, kids, everybody gather around. Deathless Metal Agatha is the dopest paint of all time, and the best name for a paint ever, if I do say so myself, and I do. So paint pots versus dropper bottles. So dropper bottles are pretty cool, and the thought is, if I have a dropper bottle and I go 1 drop, and then I get another dropper bottle and I go 2 drops, it's accurate. and I get a perfect ratio. And that's not entirely accurate. Paint can clog in the tip, reducing the size of your paint drops. And then also it can clog. You have to unclog it, so you need a long metal tool, or you start trying to dig it out, or you go to squeeze it and you squeeze a little too hard, and the little clog bursts and you shoot paint all over it. I'm not a fan of dropper bottles. The only pro I see is ratios. I don't believe in ratios. I believe close enough is good enough. So with paint pots, people talk about build up around the lip, and these are totally, there's build up around my lip. My studio paints don't really get this. These are my travel paints, so they get pretty abused. But if you take your paint pot and you put your palm over top of it and just push up, right? And then you bring it up. And then that's why when you watch me paint, I dig the paint out with an old crappy brush. This is an old brush. This brush has been around. This has seen some better days. I get my paint out in my palette, and then I close my paint pot. And I generally, when I'm paying attention, I just give a little doop. That keeps the clog off the rim, right? It's in that way the paint's out here and it's not drying out. This gets a better seal. And I personally, that's why I prefer paint pots. Use your teeth. That's not good.
I'm also going to chime in on that, Dallas. So I come from a different background, at least from the bartending perspective. And so you can use tools to measure out drinks as well in the same sort of hope for accuracy. But I also prefer paint pots for the same thing, where from that mentality, I know how heavy of a hand I had or how much I'm going to pull out of something. So it's more accurate for me personally to be like, this is what I usually do. Here's like 3 paintbrushes worth of paint going into, my mixing palette.
When you're mixing, you got to use your eye. You gotta use your eye.
Yeah.
Like, does this look okay, right? It's just like with water ratios. Like, I will give you a ratio like 3-to-1, but that's really an estimate.
What orange are you using there?
This is a mix of Ember Orange and Hearthfire, and then I've added some Scorn Red, and I'm gonna quickly shade my orange with this color. So this is three colors mixed together. I did not measure. I eyeballed it, and I'm going to make it match this, because close enough is good enough.
And Andre, that is Maxwell Finn
Maxwell Finn.
being painted up as Dallas's Company of Iron character, Dutch.
Dutch raw deal Connor's got the raw deal, short end of the stick, but he's a good guy at heart.
That's my favorite part of these.
And we're done. Thank you, folks. Good night.
All right, John, play the drums.
Double.
Ah, man. I'm gonna start doing the Privateer Press Presents intro at the beginning of Get Your Paint On. The do diddle diddle do diddle do do do. Hey gang, Dallas here from Privateer Press, and once again, thanks for joining us on Get Your Paint On. Today we got something really great and special for you. We're gonna paint Maxwell Finn. So let's get started.
It's like you've said that before.
It is. Oh, I had so much fun picking out music with Tony to get that started.
Yes, you can adjust your colors a lot by doing the washes and glazes. It gives you much more control. A lot of versatility.
Carl asks, can we do a video on non-metallic metallics?
Sure.
Yeah.
Boom. Easy. Nailed it.
Easy peasy.
I don't actually use a lot of non-metallic metals. There are very, very few applications I use it for. But the philosophy of non-metallic metal, we actually use a lot in the studio for painting metallics. So if you learn or understand non-metallic metal and apply the philosophy of it to your metallic paints, you actually get a more dynamic metallic look. And that's in my opinion.
It also depends if your miniatures are going to be on the table or if you actually plan to have them photographed.
Yeah,
That can change what the metallics look like.
it's totally true. So,
2 more questions. So from Bob,
all the more questions.
any idea when the Piggy Purple ink and the Grimkin paint singles are coming out?
They're coming.
Yeah.
They're coming. It's all process.
Yeah. And then Steve wants to know, a little bit off topic on what you're painting now, but it is painting related. What's the recipe for the purple eye glow that Cephalix and Drudges emit, if you know
Off
offhand?
the top of my head?
If you know offhand.
Off the top of my head? Oh my gosh. I know Beaten Purple, Murderous Magenta, and Minoff White Highlight or Mara White. I can't remember which one. Those are like the 3 colors. There is a online PDF Cephalix book that you can get, and it has that paint recipe in it. If somebody reminds me, I can also just post that recipe on Facebook after I off the top of my head, I don't have that memorized.
Ooh.
That's a good question because I love the Cephalix glow. It's interesting because the Cephalix glow is purple.
I was going to point that out, John. It was coming.
It's a purple, but so is the Grimkin purple, but they're totally different.
And then, as I'm sure you're seeing over there, Dallas, Aiden wanted to thank you for giving them the confidence to paint again.
Aiden, that is the goal of this, is to give people the confidence, the knowledge, and just the support to get your paint on, right? It's, you know, it's about just getting together and painting and realizing it can be easy and fun, and that's why we do it. We do it for being, it's a hobby. It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's the best hour of the week.
It is absolutely one of my favorites.
This is my favorite.
And Greg said you should paint your fingernails in faction themes. I think that would make a really great article.
Should I just paint my fingernails for every show?
I mean, like, do up a, Signar theme for your fingernails, or do a Grimkin theme, something that necessarily wouldn't go on a model, because I'm sure you've seen some of the amazing paint jobs people have done with their nails.
Oh, yeah. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
You have unused canvas, Dallas. Get on it.
It's all over my thumb.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take Calcite Flush Wash, and I've just washed that over his face to darken that up. And I'm also going to go ahead and put this over the leathers as well. And that's just building up my leathers a little bit. And I'll probably change all that once I actually get to the leathers. I'm just kind of blocking them in, seeing where they're at. Yeah, and I'm totally going to change that.
But it's a start.
Yeah, it's a good start, Steve. That's it.
It's similar to what Aiden was saying. You just got to try stuff. You just got to be
Give
not
it
afraid.
a go, right? Give it a go.
The best part about painting miniatures is you can always do it again.
Yep. I am a big proponent of never strip a model. Like, I like having that like physical visual representation of my progress. So I got models from way back. I would never strip them. I just get another model and just paint it again with my
Painting
new.
miniatures is the fine art of fixing one's mistakes.
That's right. That is 100% correct.
I wonder who told me that.
Somebody wiser than me. Wait,
It was you.
damn it.
Didn't get that one. Next time.
All right, Deathless Metal going on. Cause it's dope. Oh my god, guys, I got a project about Deathless Metal I gotta talk to you about later.
Oh, man.
Oh man, I just teased hard, sorry.
That's okay.
I forgot the mic was on, guys.
That's okay. There's a couple of questions while you're painting on there, Dallas. It's going to be a little bit out of order. Let's see. Let's start here with Andre's question. Do you paint Legion models?
What do you mean, do I paint? I painted lots of Legion models. I painted Azrael, painted, oh my gosh, you're going to make the Hellmouths. 2 or 3 Hellmouths actually at this point. Yeah, I paint Legion models.
I figured I'd start there. Next question coming from a different Andre. My circle models look a bit comic-like. I think I'm overdoing shades and highlights, so it turns out that way. If so, what's a good tip for not overdoing it?
Man, that's tough to call without seeing your work, buddy. And overdoing shades and highlight, it's almost impossible. Miniatures are all about contrast. I'd really have to see to tell what you're talking about. Tag me in a picture on Facebook.
Word. And finally, from Greg, good old Greg Webster, who was staying with the Paganis for Lock and Load. What is in your company of Iron Crew, Dallas?
Currently, and I gotta pop this guy off. I can't get down in that spot. This is why this only works for camera. I gotta be able to flip my models upside down.
Paint cap works for anything, but the mic stand is purely so it stays in the camera.
Yes, that's correct. What was the question again? Sorry.
Oh, it's all good. What is in your company of Iron Crew?
Oh, currently,
Yeah.
there's some adjustment I need to do maybe. But currently it's Anson Hitch, Maxwell Finn, the Trench Buster, the Patrol Dog, and an Express team. But I got points and trying to decide, do I ditch the dog?
You can't ditch the dog.
I know.
Can't be done. He's the goodest of boys.
But I thought
One might
about
say
just
best boy.
making like a. I thought about putting him on somebody's base with him,
Okay.
just so he's in my army but not part of the army.
He's part of the team, man. Dutch would lose his mind if you tried to get Sergeant McNamara.
I know, it's just I got some weird point values and it's driving me nuts.
So you play up or down some cards, and your buddy's like, "Of course you need that dog on the table. We're gonna
Everybody.
go play around it."
Yeah.
Everybody's saying keep the dog. And it's a psychological factor. Nobody wants to try and shoot the dog.
Dude, everybody plays against me will shoot the dog first.
And you can just call them monsters.
Oh, I call it red monster anyways.
That's true.
I calls him like I sees him. I gotta pop him off again. Silly mice.
Getting the tough to reach areas, popping him off the mic stand.
Tony Konchak making me. Well, he's not in here.
He's not in here.
I do what I want.
Tony's off doing something that he said was more important because he doesn't know any better.
Not more important.
I'm pretty
Just
sure
more
his exact
vital.
words to me were, "This is more important. I don't care to be in here. You guys suck. See you later."
That is not at all what he said. Tony has a ton of editing and other work to do so that more dope stuff can go out on the interwebs for people to enjoy.
Yeah, but I'm his boss, so I like making fun of him sometimes.
Stuff coming to
'Cause I'm a
the
jerk.
internets. It's like we've been working on projects and stuff.
That's
And stuff.
and stuff is what I would say. Still putting Deathless Metal on there?
Yeah.
Nice.
What are you going to highlight the Deathless Metal with?
Man, that's a good question.
Because, I mean, it's dope, but it's kind of dark.
It is dark. So we practiced that. We played around with the cold steel highlight, which I thought was really good. But for these guys, I didn't feel like it worked.
Well, yeah, it's too clean.
It felt too clean. So last night I was at home painting my trench buster, and I mixed up some molten bronze into Deathless Metal
Ooh.
and made a highlight out of that, and it worked. It felt way better, right?
Yeah.
That sounds really cool.
Kept the warmth to tie with the orange.
Yeah. And it makes it look that much more worn and grimy.
Yeah, it's a good mix. I still like the cold steel, and I think it has a use.
Well, and maybe
It
as a
just
final
wasn't used for
highlight
this.
or something like that. Or maybe
Yeah.
even like, using that to cut some nicks into the metal.
Yeah, I did definitely put some nicks in the metal of Mr. Trenchbuster's shield, because I figured that shield gets abused.
Oh, dude, he bashes everything with it.
Nathan would like to know if you can talk a little bit about batch painting. Or if we're going to do that at a later point.
Yeah, Agasa, yes. Brass balls would work. Actually, any of the current metals, you can add to Deathless Metal and highlight, and you can get interesting looks out of it. batch painting. Batch painting super important to me. I totally believe in batch painting
There's
if I'm
a
painting a unit.
plan for batch painting.
There is a plan, but the general idea is it's super useful and super effective. You should totally be batch painting.
And we'll show you some stuff how soon.
Blighted golden paint chips, yes, that's really, or blighted golden deathless metal paint chips.
Yeah. You see that Alex question there?
Oh yeah. Alternate color schemes to differentiate. So you can actually look at the current range of models and kind of see a little bit of that play, right? Like Trencher Commandos have gray coats instead of blue coats or leather coats, right? You can play with this idea in your army to keep it cohesive without dramatically changing stuff. So look at Black Ivan from Kador, right? Kador has a lot of black in it as a secondary color. And so by just taking that secondary color, making it the primary color, and then using the primary color as highlights, you create a dynamic shift to add variation to your army, while at the same time not destroying the theme. So, Alex, you can play with that, man. Signar, you could do a whole a unit of precursors and like gold armor.
Well, you gave a really good example last week too with Moros.
Yes, with Moros, which is a completely that black is located nowhere on Retribution, but because of the glow and basing, that's another thing. Consistent basing helps tie stuff together. You can get a really dramatic character out of something with by shifting colors. So there's some thought there that you can play with to get some interesting stuff.
Yeah, and as Dallas said, and Aggie's saying too, like just juxtaposing what goes where. So taking that blue and making it a highlight color and using a cream for the paneling can look amazing.
Yeah, like Signar has a lot of, and the character models have a lot of those white panels. Taking a unit and just making that the primary color and blue as the accent color would make that unit look unique and elite, but at the same time keeping with your scheme and not making it too abrupt. So there's some really, really fun stuff you get to do with that. Color wheels, yep. Always have your color wheel.
Yeah. Having started using a colored wheel a few years back really helped a lot.
Bootstrap leather. I didn't like what we were doing with the leather, so I'm changing it. I'm just changing it on the fly, whatever. I'm just going to cover over all that other work with a glaze bootstrap leather. I just want to get a better looking leather on there.
Yeah, desaturating colors is also an interesting way to go.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole shtick of the Grimkin army. When we were developing the studio scheme, Mike Valancourt and the art director Mike Valancourt, Matt Wilson, and I, we talked about desaturating the entire palette to make them more otherworldly and to kind of separate them out. So if you look at the Grimkin color palette, everything has been desaturated except for very key elements that we kept super bright to add that contrast and to add visual interest. So, it's all about contrast. Everything's contrast. Contrast. Everything comes down to contrast.
I think that comes up pretty much every session we have of this, at least recently.
Well, as it should. It is
Yeah.
one of those things that's absolutely worth repeating every time, all the time. Contrast.
I'm not disagreeing. It's always good that it's always going to be there, or at least currently always going to be there.
It's literally like the most important thing that you think about when you're painting miniatures is contrast, and there's different types of contrast. So finding different types of contrast and applying them to your miniatures, that's really what brings them to life, as the bards are wont to say. I'm not going to call out the specific bard, but you know what I'm talking about.
I think we all know the great David Bowie would be proud.
James is talking about the metallics that he mixed into his blue for his Signar.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that ended up looking real good.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
He's got like this.
Especially his Dynamo with the radiant platinum mixed in with the blue.
Yeah, it creates this like interesting super metallic color. So it's those are fun to play with actually. Or playing with semi-metallic paints, like that's a lot of fun. Which gets into true metallic metals and painting true metallic metals. Going back to those metal, cause I missed some spots, cause I'm missing spots.
I was gonna say, because you're painting, I can always just go back and do more.
Yep. Trying to go fast though. I want this guy done. I need my express team.
Soon. Soon.
Very soon, actually.
Don't I know?
Dippity dip, dip, dippity dip, dip.
Given the projects I'm working on, I know it all too well.
And some of this on that. Some
Yeah,
of
I have
that
a
on this.
pile of Rissophos Defenders and Aelith Veer at home that need to be painted.
I'm also doing trenchers for Company of Iron stuff, but very different than what Dallas is putting
Trenchers
together.
are
Because trenchers are
freaking
dope.
rad, man.
But minus are doper.
Well, I've got Finn as well, and I'm doing commandos for mine.
Commandos are cool. There's some cool commando characters and stuff like that that really fills those out.
Yeah. The Rissophos are also really cool. I just like their models in general. I picked up a box of them just for anything, really.
Well, it just so happens that them and Aelith Veer, a full unit, comes out to either 19 or 20 points, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
Sons of Bragg for a whole Northkin force would be really cool for Company of Iron.
Yeah.
There's some really cool Northkin stuff coming that.
Oh,
has
yeah, for
caught
sure.
My eye.
Color theory is amazing, Aggie. It's something that before I came to Privateer Press, I would have a meetup for once or twice a week. Just to get people sitting down and painting and exchanging techniques.
Never studied it.
I didn't study it either. We just talked about it and talked about what people were doing. Kind of like what we're doing right now. Andrew would like to know, Dallas, have you been to the Pancake Corral in Bellevue?
No, I didn't know there was a pancake crown Bellevue.
And neither did I.
The 25-point list that I thought would be fun was Iris, Angel of Retribution, Alexia Siener in the Risen, and the Devil Shadow Mutineers.
Interesting.
And Devil Shadows.
They were also really fun to paint.
Those models are cool.
I didn't get around to freehanding tattoos, though. That's something I need to practice on.
That is a very practiced skill.
Yes.
All right, let's put some highlights on his face.
What are you going to use to highlight?
Midland Flush. Definitely doing pancakes at Gen Con.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if there's karaoke at Gen Con.
There will be.
What is eggs cashew?
That sounds really gross.
It makes me think I'm supposed to say bless you.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I'm just going to put very minimal highlights on this guy. He's in the shadow. I don't want to get overly complex. Just a little highlight on the skin.
You just wait, Mr. Greg. You wait for stuff, mister. Strange Light Workshop for Company of Iron. So some Midland Flesh for some highlights. And I saw you were doing a little bit of highlighting beyond just the face, or was I
Yeah, on
see
the
it.
arm.
Cool. that weird like observatory shot calling to some extent. I'm like, oh, did I just see that? Is that what's going on now?
Now I'm going to go back with my Cosite Flush Wash over top of my leathers. Darken those up. Try not to get it on that armor. Tony was right. I got this a little too high.
Just bring it down an inch. Now, starting to put different washes on leathers has been magic for my painting, because there's a lot of models that I approach. I'm like, oh, this needs like 5 different types of leathers on it. How am I going to break this up?
So in the studio, and a trick that you can, a really good trick for speeding up painting leathers, is to paint all your leathers the same color,
Yeah.
right? You just paint them all the same color. And then with shades and highlights, the whole 9 yards, start to finish, paint them all the same. And at the very end, use some glazes to change certain leather elements so they have contrast and they look different than the rest of the leathers.
It's been helping me a lot.
Yeah, it's super useful. Super, super useful. Just a bunch of Cosite Flush Wash all over this bootstrap leather because it looks really good like that.
I'm going to have to hassle you soon about some sculpting techniques, Dallas.
Man, I'm not a sculptor.
I know, but I got to talk to them too. But been sculpting flames on stuff, and it is.
I can help you with flames.
Yeah.
That is literally something I can't.
That's part of why I was breaking it up. As for your, Grimkin stuff, I've been doing a bunch of flames on zealots and whatnot. Greg would like to know if you can explain more on how to make and use glazes, which I think might also become part of a conversation about glazes and washes that's come up before.
So glazes are washes and glazes are techniques. They're not necessarily a thing. And a wash is a thin paint like this that I'm just kind of blurking on the model, and the whole goal is for it to pull up in the resources to create contrast, to add shadow, and just deepen the areas. A glaze is a thin paint that you glaze over top of a surface that you use to tint the area, to tie colors together. What do you mean you don't know what means? You have to be very specific because I'm rambling.
That was in relation to their original question.
Okay.
Just can you explain more how to do this?
So glaze is like a filter, like over top of a light to change the color. And you don't want it to pull up. You want it to be evenly distributed over the entire model. So you can use those to create different effects and tie colors together, stuff like that. Going to cold black.
Would you liken a glaze?
Blurking, yes, that's exactly how you spell it.
Just to make sure, at least for my own purposes here, since glazing is a technique, and pottery, for example, uses a glazing technique, would they be one and the same, or are they different in some regard, other than their medium, of
Am I
course?
a potter?
I don't know, man.
I've never pottered,
I don't know what you do.
so I don't know.
Fair.
I've never done pottery. I'm assuming
You're a potter, Dallas.
I'm assuming in pottery you just kind of put this stuff on it, but then the whole point is to create an effect.
Yeah.
That's not what you're doing here.
That's part of why I was asking, in case somebody were to go out and try to research it and do that.
No, it's just a super thin paint, very translucent. You're just trying to shift a color on an element.
Nice. And Paolo says, "Sup, Dallas and audience. Sup with you, Paolo."
Sup.
So Greg's following up. So, for example, I can paint something white and then glaze it with a thin coat of another color.
You can. You can paint something whatever.
I did that on my Stormlances.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Kador is all painted with, to get Kador red, like look at the book and The Mark II Cador book, like that has like the perfect explanation of glazing in it. I know it's the Mark II book, but it does have a really dope glazing explanation.
And Aggie brings up too, like, try not to use too much paint, because if you use too much, you start going into washing territory.
Yeah, it's super, super, super thin. It's very controlled. Let me look around.
There's a couple of Formula P3 videos. One's on ice, one's on fire, and then there's another one on doing glow effects.
There you go.
Those ones are all really good examples of glazes versus washes.
Nice. Yeah, that's why I brought it up, Paolo versus pottery glaze versus miniatures glaze, because it's good to call out terminology like that. You're welcome, Greg. Thanks for asking the question so that everybody can be better off for it.
Oh, got some on his arm, but that's okay. That's what that second brush is for.
And what are you painting on right now, Dallas?
Coal black.
Coal black.
Gotta get my shadows. Gotta get my shadows in there. Darken up that blue jeans. This is not precise. This is very loosey-goosey.
That's okay, though.
It's actually preferred. It's how you get things done quick.
Yeah, I'm just having fun with this guy. He's not here to win awards. This is Maxwell Finn.
He's just here to win wars.
That's right.
It's true.
Nailed it.
In your heart.
This is Maxwell Finn, Paolo, which Dallas is using as Dutch for his company of Iron Force.
That's right. Dutch raw deal Connors.
I'm really excited to see all of your company done and put on the table.
Dude, me too. Yeah, it's a trencher chain gun. Because that guy's a boss! Coming this summer.
Is it still summertime? It's August.
It's still summer.
I don't know when seasons end.
It's still legally summer.
I don't know when seasons
Not till
end.
September 21st.
I don't pay attention. I had all sorts of weird foreign holidays in my head that don't line up with
Well, it's hard to
seasons.
tell what the season is outside right now. It's smoke season.
with how people have been talking about it, yeah.
Like,
Amazing.
holy cow.
I was blown away talking about that. The fact that Colorado, where I most recently came from, is less on fire currently than it's ever been compared to all the smoke being blown down into the Seattle area.
All right.
It's apparently even worse up in like Everett and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Got some Umber.
And Federal Way. It's a dip. Humber Lumber.
The contrast between the blue denim and the metallic. Yeah, all this, it's all about contrast. It's all about contrast. So I got some Umber Lumber, and I ran out of spots on my paint palette, so I just kind of put it in with the Cosite Flush Wash. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
What else? I'm going to
Do what you want.
shade my orange, and this will add some richness to it and also kind of dirty it up.
Dallas has not been approached by Skull Island Expeditions for a graphic novel yet.
Should be.
Who knows what's going to happen with that
Oh
one.
man, I would totally. Mr. Mike Ryan, where are you?
I believe he is in a meeting. Also, there's a sign on the door that says Mike Ryan, stay out.
He has a bad habit of walking in while things are being recorded.
Yeah, he's a troublemaker.
I'll totally help write the. I was coming up with names of my little company of Iron Force the
It's
other
the
night.
Filthy Five.
There's 6 models.
I think the Filthy Five is acceptable.
Do we just ignore the 6 model?
So I'm gonna-
it's Trevor McNamara, the good as the boys.
I'm gonna
He's the
take.
6 model.
He's not filthy.
He's not filthy.
I'm also going to take a step away from that. So there's a series based on a book series by Douglas Adams called Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. There are characters in that called the Rowdy Three, but there are 4 of them. So the Filthy Five is super fine.
All right, we're going with it. The Filthy Five. I will totally come up with stories.
Or Casual Company.
The Company of Cash.
The Casual Convicts.
I like the Filthy Five.
I do too, especially because there's 6 of them.
Yeah. But I'm a nerd. Like I love Douglas Adams.
Dutch can't count.
When you have this many bullets, there's no need to count.
1, 2, more than 2. Any number higher than 2 is just more than 2.
That's great. I'm going with it. I'm sticking with the Filthy Five. This is on.
I contributed.
Oh, Greg also says it's called the Filthy Five. So if they're ever captured, nobody expects the 6th to come rescue them.
Sir, we've caught all 5 of the Filthy Five. Excellent. Our plan should go in perfect order now. Bork, bork, bork. Oh, no.
Oh, that dog just ripped that guy's jugular out. What the?
Bork,
The best.
bork, bork.
Bork, bark. It's the best of boys.
I warned you about the dog.
Oh, so good.
Bork, bork.
I'm trying to get my composure. So Andre says, ask the next question they have here is it a no-go to take a different color by its own to shade or highlight? Should one better mix in the shade or highlight paint to the base color?
I got to read that because I kind of lost track. Where's that at?
It's above one of Greg's comments or below, given where you're looking. Douglas Adams was an interesting character.
Is it a no-go to take a different color by its own to shade highlight? No, that's absolutely, you should do that. That's a great way to create contrast. Cador Red. Cador Red base. I shade with Sanguine base. And then I mix Exile Blue into Sanguine base and shade that. So, yeah, colors, like there's a P3 mixing chart. You can find it. And starting to learn colors theory and stuff like that will help you learn what you can shade and not shade with. If you take a look at my Nemo I painted for Crystal Brush last year, I did some experimenting with shading the yellow armor with blue, which is something I'd never thought to do before. And I wanted to give it a try, and it actually worked. So it's shaded with blue. Like, it's not shaded with yellows or browns or anything. It's shaded with blue.
I really love that model.
That bust is super great. And
Awesome.
the recently shown Borka bust.
So I think we've got time for about 2 more questions.
Wait, holy cow.
Yeah, time flies, man.
Are we serious?
Yeah, but there's been so many good painting questions today. Oh, yes, Greg. Douglas Adams died a while ago.
Thanks for bringing the room down.
Good.
Yeah.
Gosh, dark.
Yeah, man.
We're painting, man.
Yeah, why would you do that? Greg.
Get your morbid on.
Ruining my day.
So Adam, he's got a primer can lid that the miniature is double-sided taped to, and that is super useful. The mic stand that it's stuck on, however, is purely so we can get the shot. It actually slows him down.
Oh, yeah, it's very hindery. But Tony Konchak gets what he wants.
Go research things, Greg. Come on. You got the internet.
All right, I'm using this Humber Lumber as like a Man, I'm just attacking whole sections of this model at this point.
It's making it look like real dirty. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just dirtying him up and getting a lot of shady contrast in there. And that's okay. That's what I want. I want this. The filthy 5.
Oh man, Aggie's adding. Talk about that. There. Talk about paint stuff. Aggie is adding. I'm gonna read it verbatim. The natural world, aka sun, is naturally very yellow. So if you go from like cold bluish color shadows and work up to yellower warm colors, you sometimes add a bit of real cool realism.
It's true. Also, if you study face zones, by putting a little yellow up in a forehead, you make it look more realistic.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
Beep.
Art science. Sci-art.
Art sci?
Art.
Kind of like artsy?
Art sense. This is terrible.
We have made a mistake.
Parting thoughts, Dallas?
Parting thoughts. Patience, practice, perseverance. Eat your pancakes, kids. They're good for you.
Legitimate.
Yeah.
Are we done? Seriously?
Yeah, it's that time.
Ah!
I know.
Roll the drums.
I know.
No!
It's all right. We'll see him again next week. I
Oh,
promise.
wait, we're coming back next week?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was a one-shot.
No.
No.
We'll
Oh,
do
I'm
more.
so totally confused.
No, that's you're thinking CID first shot, which there are usually 2 of.
Right.
What?
See you later, folks.
Bye, gang.
Woo!